everybody. I'm Katie.
I'm Becky, and this is Live, Laugh, Lorcana. So, what's going on with Lorcana, Katie?
Oh, so many things. Well, I think we have to talk about this past weekend was our first weekend of Disney Lorcana challenges. We had one in Lille, France, and one in Atlanta. They both had about 2,000 people, which is incredible. That those are huge competitive events. I've never been to a single event that had that many entrants. So that's incredible.
Very exciting.
And I watched the entire thing on my couch. There was a wonderful cast. Some of our great friends were casting. Rebecca from Lorcana Luminary was casting. Go girl. Jonty, Brandon, Liam. But I don't know. Everybody on Twitter was posting like FOMO, FOMO. I didn't have FOMO. I felt like I was right in it on my couch watching every single round.
I was kind of busy, so I had to go kind of in and out, but I enjoyed everything I watched. It was really fun. I liked the energy. The chat was a little embarrassing at times, but that's Twitch for you.
True. The winner of Atlanta was Becky.
Avery Amethyst. I love that. Really cool. I loved seeing somebody choose kind of like a non-standard meta deck and won the game. And I think that's incredible. And I'm so happy to see how far Joshua goes.
Yeah, because he seemed like a really nice guy. When they were
For sure.
interviewing him, I'm like, I am rooting for you.
Yes.
I was thinking maybe we should just go right into the interview with Miss Memento because that's why everybody's here.
That sounds good. Are we going to talk about other stuff after?
Yeah.
Okay. We got a really great opportunity to talk to Miss Memento, who was one of the judges at DLC Atlanta. So right here is the interview with Miss Memento. Today we are joined with Miss Memento, also known as Ariel, to talk about her experience at judging at DLC Atlanta. So the first question we always ask is, how did you get into Lorcana?
Yeah, so it started actually back in oh my gosh, late summer 2022. I think I just came across one of the Twitter posts of like the original like six cards that they shown off for D23 and the D23 promos and stuff. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And at that point, I've been playing Pokemon for 15 years, so I come from Pokemon, and I really was starting to take a casual step into Pokemon. So I was just like, I want to find something new. So personally, for me, I feel like maybe a real competitive Pokemon might not be for me at this moment. So I'm like, let me try to start something new. So I was looking into Arcana, and I got really into it. And then by like spring of last year, I was teaching some of my Pokemon locals how to play Lorcana, and they were playing it too. So I was really excited.
That's awesome. Were you kind of like a Disney kid or a Disney adult or anything like that?
Um, I don't call myself a Disney adult. I'm an adult that loves Disney, if that makes sense. So,
I 100% know what you mean.
I wish I had the money to go to Disney World every year. Trust me, but
Right.
I love Disney, and I am a big Kingdom Hearts fan. So
Oh my gosh, yes.
I missed out on the Kingdom Hearts trading card game, and I'm like, I'm not going to miss out on this one.
I
Like that
love that.
was one of my big motivations.
That's so sweet. I love that. That's really cool. So, at what point in your Lurkana journey did you realize you were interested in judging?
Probably around honestly like April of last year, I think. I wanted to go to Gen Con when they were going to debut the game, but then I realized I'm like, okay, I have almost like no shot at getting any of these tickets for these events. And I saw their application on Twitter about staffing for Gen Con. So I'm like, you know what? I could probably get a lot of the same benefits if I just put my hat in the ring. I also have been staffing a local anime convention of mine called Katsucon for about 8 years. So
I've heard of that. Where is that?
so it's in Maryland, but it's like between DC and Virginia. It's like in this little tiny,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, and it's at the Gaylord National Hotel and Convention Center.
Okay.
So I've been staffing that for 8 years now, and I'm like, you know what? I
Awesome.
staff at one con. I love the behind the scenes, so like,
Yeah.
let's try a different avenue with this game, and I never looked back. It was really fun.
Oh, that's so cool. How did you judge Pokemon at all?
Not officially, like I would help out one of my local judges here and there, but I wasn't very big into it.
Before DLC Atlanta, were you judging local events, that kind of thing?
Yes. So actually, one of my locals, they asked me to judge for the Learn to Play for the very first chapter that came out. So I went, I taught people how to play. It was funny. The local game store owner was just like, I don't know anyone, and she called me middle of the day. I was just like, wait, you went to Gen Con, you taught people how to play the game. I would love for you to be a judge for our Learn to Play event at the locals. I was like, cool. And I did that. And then for the set championships, went back to two different local game stores, judged both of them. So I had some experience. And even at PAX, I was one of the three judges at PAX Unplugged that
Oh
helped with
wow.
those events. Yeah.
That's awesome. Those are some pretty good credentials already. Look at you.
I know. My friends were like, you're already like on the ball. I'm like,
You are
thanks.
awesome. How did you go about learning everything you needed to know kind of before you took the test and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so for the test I took for Atlanta specifically, it was very helpful to just be on the Disney Lorcana website, the official website, and they have all those resources in their resource tab. So I really took to studying the comprehensive rules every time they updated and the player correction guidelines to know. Because I knew a lot of my locals were going to ask me, like, how would you handle this and that? So I really took in some extra time to do that. But also, the Mushu report is a really good website for just like organizing card ruling. So that's like one of the number one places I go to, actually. He has a wiki that has all the different types of card rulings, and it's both like the more general rulings and the more like card specific interactions.
That's awesome. So you just judged the first North American Disney Lorcana Challenge. What was the application process like for becoming a judge for a Disney Lorcana Challenge?
So it was a little bit multi-step. So we did the first application, and then we had to wait a little bit, and then they gave us a test. And then once we did that, then they were like, oh my gosh, like, you've been accepted, or, you've been rejected. The test itself, it was untimed, so I actually had time to really take my time with it. And it was open book, so we could go back and forth between what to look for. But it was really more like first half was just knowing just general rules, but then it became more specific, and it was a lot of what would you do scenarios if you were like the head judge. How would you go for this ruling? And it was really important though at the beginning of the test, it said to like note like when you're doing penalties and stuff to do it to the fullest extent in terms of that error. So some of them were not listed at all in the player correction guideline. So I was like stumped for like a good like 15 minutes. And I was just like, man, I think I punished this person way too hard. or like my friend of mine was just like, I was way too lenient. I don't know. But it was really fun being able to finally get some of those answers to some of the questions that were
Yeah.
like, we have no idea how to like rule this. So it was fun. I definitely got me thinking a little bit as to how certain things could happen. So now I'm a lot more like aware of certain situations that were in the test that definitely could pop up.
Absolutely. I feel like most players would be like very benefited from, reading through the guidelines and
Yes.
like being posed these kind of questions to kind of, get your brain moving and kind
Oh
of
yeah,
being more aware. So,
absolutely.
yeah. So at the Atlanta event, did you work every round?
No. So we had schedules already set for us. So I
Oh,
did have like a break or two mixed in between the rounds. But other than that though, like out of 9 rounds, I think I had one round off for
oh
day one.
wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was mostly in that streaming booth, and we had a rotation of judges too. So it wasn't just like all of us at the same time. Some of us were at the all feature matches watching them, and then we had two judges on the feature matches. So it really rotated, but we were judging pretty much the entire time.
That's a long day. Did you do day 2 as well?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
I had a one break in between. I think top 16 was the round I took a break in, but
Oh,
every other
wow.
round after that and before that I did as well.
Okay. And with judging, do you like watch games or do you just kind of like wait to be called over to answer questions?
So it really depends. So day one we didn't have, to my knowledge, anyone like actually like publicly like, oh, call judge and raise their hand. Usually if I walked outside the booth, and then that would be when you would see a lot of people raising their hands. Um, it really depended on the environment. Like at my locals, yeah, a lot of people would raise their hands. But in this situation, when I was in like the streaming area,
Mhm.
no one raised their hands. It was more like we tried to catch things. So we were trying to watch games and trying to catch things that we saw. Um, to issue a corrective action for it.
Yeah. Is that stressful being on the streamcast?
Okay, yes. So, long story short, yes, only because I never did a live stream production like that before.
Mhm.
Um, I've been on TV before, but not in that setting, so it was very different from what I was used to. In how we were set up, I think was a little bit on the more stressful, one of the frustrating side, just how we set up and how it was a little bit different for us to really like be able to be more vigilant in games. So that part was more stressful. But day two, once you saw that we were like sitting down with the players, it was a lot more like, okay, it was easier to focus, being able to concentrate on, the game, and also the players' actions to make sure that they're doing everything correctly.
And um, this probably varies a lot, but like how
Okay.
often per round do you get called over, do you think?
I'd say when I was in set championships, it was like maybe like 2, 3 times around. So for the most part, a lot of locals knew the rules and stuff, and they were
Yeah.
they were pretty good. So it wasn't particularly that often. It's like 1 to 3 times per round, I would say.
Yeah. And what are the most common things that judges are called for in Lorcana that you've noticed?
Drawing an extra card. For
Okay.
sure. That's always is drawing the extra card, or they accidentally saw a card they weren't supposed to, or they missed a trigger. Like, and that could be an optional one or one that you need a mandatory trigger. Um, Nothing like too crazy has popped up. Some people were like, "Hey, does this card work like this?" I'm like, "Yeah, it does work like that." Like, usually it's just clarification to a question, just to make sure a card actually works the way it's stated. But nothing like, for me, nothing has popped up where it was like a head scratcher and I was like, oh boy, let me pull out my phone for this one. Like it wasn't anything like that. It was pretty easy questions.
Can I ask what is the fix if someone draws an extra card?
So that's called a card count error. So we would try to find out what the card is first, try to identify that, and then usually we would like reveal that card, shuffle it, and then put it back in the deck. And if they draw like maybe 2 extra cards, we take 2 random cards out their hand randomly. If we don't know what it is, but usually it's a warning. So we have like cautions, warnings, game loss, match losses, disqualifications, and that will just be a warning at that point. But there's like a almost a 3 strike system in the rules where it's like if you get 2 warnings in one category, then it gets, if you do it again, it gets upgraded to a game loss.
Okay.
And you can do like 2 different errors. So it might be a card count error with your hand, or a hidden information error where something happened with the inkwell. And that's 2 different warnings, so they don't count towards you getting a game loss or a match
Hmm.
loss. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, there's so much to learn.
I know.
Yes, there is. Even for me, I still have to go back.
Yeah. Cool. So, were you at the table for finals?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. When I saw that on my schedule, I was like, "Oh boy, this is gonna be
Ah!
a high octane stress level." Like, I was like, "Oh boy." So I actually hit up one of my local discords, and I was like, at everyone, I'm like, "I'm gonna be on the stream in the finals." Da, da,
Oh,
da. So it was really funny seeing like everybody after the rounds were done, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, we saw you on stream." And blah, blah, blah. It's just like trying not to. It's hard to like focus on such a really really great match, and then also not want to like pretend like you're on The Office and then make like a really funny face at the camera. There was a point in the finals because Joshua was playing Mufasa and I was playing Green Mufasa for set championship, so I really liked that deck.
Yeah.
But when Matthew banished the Mufasa, I actually put my hand over my mouth because I knew whatever he was going to get off the Mufasa was going to be kind of crazy, and I didn't want to like.
I didn't want to react.
Yeah, because you see me just like do this, and when he got a Perdita out, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I was like, "That's one of the best feelings." But yeah, you will see me like have like the really human reaction of trying not to like seem biased, but also like try to like kind of keep a more like calm demeanor, like a more neutral demeanor. Right. It was kind of tough though, because I'm like, dang, I played a Mufasa deck, and I like, oh, that was so cool, just seeing how it works. So that was probably the more like tougher things to do is try to like balance it out a little bit between like being a little silly, but also like being serious when the time requires it to be, and being able to be professional.
I always struggle with that. I get so into stuff. Like over there, and they're like, "Get her out of here."
I know. I don't want them being like, "She can't come back here again." Like,
it's too much. So Christian asked, "What was the most interesting or surprising judge call that you had to make?"
At the streaming tables, it wasn't anything like real crazy. Nothing particularly surprised me. Like we were able to catch one of the errors on stream because me and Joe were talking, and he's just like, "Should I stop this?" I'm like, "Yes, absolutely. Like pause the game. Let's rewind this." I think on a local level, the most surprising thing to me was how many people kept asking me about hand size, and that they're like, "I heard that there's a hand size limit in the game," and I'm like, "Guys, there is no hand size limit. I don't know where you guys are getting this from." And they're like, "Oh, I thought because like Ruby Amethyst draws a lot of cards that they would do a hand." I'm like, "No, that's where are you seeing that?" They're like, "Oh, well, someone said." I'm like, "Guys, trust me, there is no hand size limit. Like that's not a thing in Lorcana. Like that. I think that to me, and that was like over the span of a couple months too."
Oh wow!
But, yeah, like that. And that ended maybe
who is spreading this rumor?
I don't know. I was like, who? I'm like, who are you talking to? And there's like people who were like judges. I'm like, oh, good gracious. I'm like, no. So that was like probably the most surprising thing, and how it lasted like a good long time before like people finally were like, there is no hand size limit.
Right. It's funny. Do you have any highlights from the weekend outside of judging?
Yeah, so me and my friends came in on early Friday morning. We checked in early into our hotel, and then we actually went to the World of Coca-Cola. I'd never been, always wanted to go. It was really, really fun. I love Coca-Cola. Really cool museum if you guys have the chance to go. We were going to go to the aquarium, but then we realized it was like $60-something. So we were like, ooh.
Oh wow.
yeah, as opposed to like $21 for the Coca-Cola. So I was like, yeah, we're good. But it was really cool because they had two different taste testing sites. And one of them was like for a new original Coke. I don't know what the difference was between just normal Coke, but they had a mystery flavor. They didn't say what it was, but it tasted like maybe like some type of orange. Maybe that was really good. And then upstairs on their second level, they have this international soda tasting. It is so really, really cool. And I actually got a shirt that said all the different sodas I tried. I will say though, there was two that I absolutely despised. It was disgusting. And it was a Fanta flavor from China. It was sour plum. It tasted like barbecue sauce. I'm not kidding. It smelled like it, and it tasted like fizzy barbecue sauce. And I kept telling people who were like, "Oh no." I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's disgusting." And there was another one from Italy called Beverly.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It was like some wannabe sparkling water diet soda. Oh, it's so gross. And the woman before me tried it, and she was like, "Oh, this is disgusting." and I sipped it, and I immediately gagged. I'm like, no,
Nope. Nope.
not for me. But it was really fun regardless. But I was like, oh, this is crazy. Funny enough, though, I think like most of the international sodas still weren't as good as like U.S. like flavors. Funny enough.
I totally believe that. I've been like really into like international snacks lately,
Hmm.
and like I got like a box of them, and one of them is like cucumber flavored potato chips, and I'm just like,
Oh.
this is not for my palate. I don't know whose it's for, but it's
Ooh.
not me.
Oh no. Ooh, like I like crazy foods. I've
Yeah.
had crazy foods throughout my whole life, but like the soda, that was the
Not it. Not
yeah,
it. That's your
no.
line.
Yeah, not yeah, this is not it. Like this ain't it, Chief. Like that's not that's not it. But on I came back home late Monday, so we
Mhm.
actually me and my friends actually spent the day at MomoCon. So
Oh,
that
cool.
was
Yeah,
really fun.
I saw like on Twitter and Instagram like pictures and videos from that. It looked so
Oh
cool.
my gosh, like it was huge. Like I've been to cons most of my life and I never felt overwhelmed. This is the first time I felt really overwhelmed by the exhibit hall. I was like, this is nuts. This is crazy. I don't know how I'm gonna get through all this, but it was really fun. Got a really cool dragon hoodie.
Nice.
So it was really, really pretty. And I told my brother, I'm like, hey, you're gonna have to come down here when you get the chance. This is huge. So I would definitely go back to MomoCon though.
That's awesome. Speaking of going back, did you enjoy judging this big of an event? Would you do it again?
Yes, absolutely. It was great meeting all the different people. Like some people I met back at Gen Con last year. So it's
Oh,
nice seeing
cool.
some of the people again. And then also like I got accepted to judge Chicago, so I will be there.
Are you?
Oh.
Yes, 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 yes. I got
We'll be
accepted.
there.
Oh, there you go. See, so we're gonna have to link up. I
Yeah.
was just saying on Twitter, I would love to see if I could put like a little get together for everyone after the event so people can like just meet up with other players and other content creators, stuff like that. Something
Mhm.
similar to what we had at Gen Con last year where it was like an unofficial meetup, but like that's where a lot of friendships were being made and were
Yes.
created. And that's how I got to know a lot of the community too, was last at Gen Con when they made that. So maybe something similar. Maybe go out to a bar, who knows? Chicago, we'll have fun.
Yeah, for
Um
sure.
But yeah, that's the plan. So I'm really excited.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. So we have a few more listener questions.
Yeah.
Jake from 40 Born says, I love judges. They make my life so much easier at events. I have several questions.
Hmm.
What do you hope the judge program looks like 1 year from now?
Ooh. All right. So I'm going to rip off my experience from Pokemon
Mhm.
and what I've seen from the Pokemon Professor program because a lot of my friends are in that. So, what I would like to see first of all is like an official exam, obviously, an official certification. But how it's worked into Pokemon is that the professors have like an account on the Pokemon website where they're able to go back and track like I guess you say judge stats, so like where you judged, and you get points or like some type of credit that you rack up over time, and you pretty much kind of like level up. And the more events you do and the more like credit that you get from judging those events, the more you are qualified to judge bigger events. So if I do enough local events, I can start judging regional events and I can start judging the international championships that Pokemon has and so on and so forth and world championships. So it works something like that. So I like to see a system like that where every time we judge, like we get sorry about the dog. We get more credit or whatever to like judge for bigger events. Um, I would also like to see something else is really cool is that they also have a judge or a professor store in Pokemon where they redeem points and they can actually get physical items. So back in the day, they actually used to get the Pokemon Professor lab coats. That used to be
Oh,
an item in the store, and I was
that's so
so
cute.
jealous. So jealous of my friends that got the professor coat because they don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And they also had play mats too of all the Pokemon from like different generations, all laid out on one
Wow.
playmat. And that would be really cool to see though. Like we get different cool rewards off of it, and like maybe like stamped judge promos would be really sick. Like that would be like a cool highlight just to show people too. That's like, oh, this is like a judge playmat, a judge promo. So something like that would be really nice. But just something more streamlined, and then I think something just more official that's connected with the website. I think once they do more with the website, that's when I think we're going to start seeing an official judge program. And I know that's probably a lot to input at one time. So I feel like they're probably going to take their time with the
Yeah.
official program whenever it comes out.
That makes sense. I've not played another TCG. This
Mhm.
is kind of my first, but I love that. What a fun way to do it. I love ranking, like going up higher the
I
more you do it and stuff, and exclusive swag. I mean, judges keep
yes.
these events together, and it just like it's such an important, cool job, and I'm so glad so many people do it because it's awesome.
It really is, and I was kind of jealous of some of my Pokemon friends who were doing it because I remember like a local Pokemon judge, and now he's one of the like main head judges. So we see him all the time on the world in the World Championship streams, and we see him. He's always busy running this event and that event, flying out here and flying out there. So it was really inspiring seeing him, and I'm like, I love how it was a local, and he just kept working at it, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
he was my main inspiration too as to
Oh,
why I did this. So.
I love that. Why do you choose to judge at events rather than play?
So, well, part of it is I always consider myself a spectator. Like I love to just spectate, watch things. Ever since I was young, my brother loves playing video games. I love playing video games too, but me and him sometimes have different tastes in
Yeah.
terms of like the gameplay, but that doesn't mean I don't want to see the story. So I always
Mhm.
be the person like on the couch, like couch playing almost a little bit. Like we're playing Persona 3 Reload right now. So he's never played a Persona game. I have, so I'm giving him details about different things and he's just playing it. But like at the same time, it's like we're both still kind of playing at the same time. So I've always been a lover of just spectating things. For me too, it's just I think out of my nature from becoming more casual in Pokemon, it's more like I don't feel like sweating right now to be honest. I like being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Um, and especially when I staffed Katsucon, that's I love the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm like, this is really fun to see, especially
Yeah.
on the ground roots level, how this card game, started and how it's going and whatever the future may take it. And it's gonna be so like I think refreshing and just like really exciting to see the growth of a card game like this. And I love being able to get on to like ground zero level and help build that community and foster such a welcoming and warm community. So that's why I like playing more. I like being able to be behind the scenes and like keeping things together and making it work.
That's awesome. It's funny you say about spectating with video games because Katie and I used to do that. Especially with Kingdom Hearts. One person would
Oh
have the
my gosh.
controller and the other person would be like the
Yes.
navigator, like kind of
Yes. And so like you both feel like you're still playing the
we're both in
game.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's so much fun. Like, and I don't do horror games. My brother
No.
does. So like Resident Evil 8, I'm the one like
I mean,
hovers over my face and I'm like, yo, where is the gun? Like, where did it put it? And he's just like, I don't know. And it's just like really funny seeing both of us like it's really good. So I love watching Smash Bros. I love watching
yeah.
Pokemon. So this is same idea, just like being a little bit like more in the action, I guess, or like a
Yeah.
closer look at the game itself.
Absolutely. That's so cool. Jake also asked, who should consider becoming a judge?
Yeah, so okay, big thing, parents.
Mm.
Absolutely parents. So that's another thing that usually happens in Pokemon is when the parents are taking their kids and they're just kind of sitting there and they're bored. And so a lot of parents I've noticed are actually like getting into judging because it creates that bond with their kid that they're like, hey, my kid loves to play. I like to judge, like, and then I'm able to help with his deck, and they teach each other, and it's such like a heartwarming experience seeing that. And I really would recommend like parents of younger kids, especially if they're like worried about their kids playing older adults because there's no age divisions yet. So I would love first that's another thing I would love to see too. It's age divisions, but for parents that might be a little bit more worried about like big events like this and their kids participating, I would recommend judging because you will be able to keep a closer eye on your kid if that, if that's what worries you. Um, I also would say like maybe like semi-competitive people are more on the casual side, so they love the game, but maybe like going to like 8 set championships to get a new Ursula card might not be their thing, or maybe they're like a little bit more anxious when they're like actually playing in a big tournament setting. I think too judging helps with that aspect because even though you're still dealing with people, the high pressure situations, if you're not good with that, like I'm terrible at, I overthink too much in high pressure situations. So I'm like judging, I can take a step back and also still help people, and I still have an involvement with the game. So that's a really good way, as well. So anybody who might be, in those kind of avenues, judging, I definitely would recommend. I have like 4 or 5 people now who are getting into judging.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
cool.
Yeah, like literally one of my friends I went with, I got her into judging because she's like, I'm not like the hardcore player. I still
Right.
love playing, but I would really like to help like with the events and stuff. So
Well, that's like I've also thought like 9 rounds fighting for my life. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
I fight for my life on the daily, so it's like, why do
Right.
I need more to add on top of
Right.
that?
Yeah, so I totally get that. And of course, Joe Googly Glimmers asks, how much did you love working with the incredible Googly Glimmers in the flesh?
So that was actually interesting. So when he said that, I was like, what? So I was like, he's on our same team. I was like, oh my god, that's so crazy. And I never seen his face. So I always just see the little like Simba picture and the brother with the
Right, with the
googly eyes.
eyes.
So I was like, oh my gosh, that's googly glimmers. That's so cool. It was really awesome though too, because we were pretty much partners throughout the entire event. So we were like, there's 3 of us, so we were like this, like glue. It really was fun though, working with another content creator because it really puts into perspective too that they're human like everybody else,
Mhm.
despite whatever many people are following them and the views they get and this and that. It was like at one point too, I literally almost forgot to have him sign my playmat because I just didn't even like I just thought him as Joe, like my streaming judge partner. Like I was like, oh my god, he's Google Glimmers. Oh, I need to make sure I get him to sign my playmat like I did like a whole bunch of other people before I leave. So it really got to that point where it really just was just a natural partnership.
Mhm.
And I know he's playing in Chicago, so I'm gonna be rooting for him.
Aw,
But it was really fun.
he's such a nice guy.
He
I like
really
him.
is. I was like, oh my God. Like it just reinforced too, just like the Wakanda community in general. All the people that I have encountered have been so nice and so sweet. And it really has been just a pleasure.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Katie, anything else?
Yeah, just one more
Yeah.
question. I forgot to write on the sheet. Like I know like with new players, some of them like feel really bad calling for a judge, like they're
hmm
tattling on their opponent or something, or they feel like they did something wrong if their opponent calls a judge. Do you have any advice for them?
So I always tell my locals, before an event, like, please, 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 if you feel that anything is going like just doesn't feel right, even if it is and you're just not sure, like anything, just do not be afraid to just raise your hand, call a judge. Like, and also depends on the judge. Like, what we're taught to be too is also compassionate. We recognize that everybody's human too. Nobody's a robot, And at the end of the day, we don't sell kidneys here. Like, you make a mistake, like that's okay. That happens. And what we're taught is also to our demeanor as well when approaching these players. Like, we don't want to come off as like already accusatory and overbearing and like kind of hawking over the players. We want to make sure that we are presenting ourselves as neutral as possible, but also as calmly as possible too. Like if say something happened with a kid and he created the error, we would get to his eye level and we'd tell him calmly, just let him know, like, hey, like you can't do that. The rules are this, this, and this, and we're gonna have to issue like a warning for that. But just be more careful, buddy. When whatever drawing your cards or where you put your hand to not make sure it's an inkwell, something like that. So never feel afraid to call a judge. Just raise your hand respectfully and tell your opponent too beforehand. Hey, I'm going to call a judge. I just want to make sure about this, or I just need clarification on that, or just hold on. I think you might have played something extra. Let me just call a judge. So just like it, just how you present it, just make sure you're not like I think more players are more taken back when you're doing it just out of nowhere, because then that's what freaks them out. Because then like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I would tell players to make sure you tell them ahead of time that, hey, I'm going to call a judge because of A, B, C. And then never be afraid to. If you have any bad feeling, any suspicious feelings, just anything, call a judge. It really does make the difference.
Totally agree. Judges are there to help you. Uh,
Yes.
that just reminded me of a story. One time I was playing in a Flesh and Blood tournament, and my opponent all of a sudden was like, "Judge!" And the judge came over, and he was like, "Can I speak to you away from the table for a minute?" And I was so stressed out. I'm like, I don't understand what's
Yes.
happening. But I came to find out later he wanted to make a move and didn't know if it was legal, and he didn't want to play
Yes.
it and for me to see it if it didn't
Yeah.
turn out to be legal, which makes perfect sense. So like
Yes.
once it happened to me once, like it's never stressed me out again. But just like you can ask to talk to a judge away from the table, right? If you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. Just I always say for like people who are like new players, if they like feel uncomfortable, like just make sure, or if you're comfortable telling your opponent beforehand, hey, I'm gonna call a judge. I just wanna have some clarification on something. That's it. And then if you want to speak away from the table, that's same deal. So and there's nothing to be afraid of. We're paid to do this. Like this is why we're here. So please do not be afraid to ask.
Oh, it's good stuff. Anything you would like to add? Real.
Ooh. First of all, I love the April Fools that you guys did.
Thank you.
That was great. I was surprised a lot of like content creators were like really going in for April Fools. I'm like, dang, I have nothing this time around. I'm like, I need to step my game up. I need to get my production value going. But I mean, for me, I say that one of the things I did make a point about last year at Gen Con 2 when I was at that unofficial Discord meetup was, you know, a space for women in general in TCGs, and being able to talk with other women content creators too was like really, really important, because like I think for this game especially, you are seeing a lot. I've seen a lot more than I had with Pokemon for sure. So that's like really like awesome and really like encouraging to see, because we really want to see that. And I think you guys are doing an awesome job with making sure that everybody is included and we're getting all different types of perspectives. So it really feels great to be on here today talking with you guys. Um, but for me, I would like to. What is like one of your number one goals? I would say, what's your guys' number one goal? It's just like a content creation account. Like, what do you guys seek for? What's your number one thing you want to see in like maybe a year from now?
What do you think, Katie? Do you want to go?
Um, Not even just like a year from now, but like anything,
Hmm.
all I ever want from our content is that like somebody who wouldn't normally feel comfortable in the TCG space would like see our content and be like, you know what, maybe it's not so scary. Um,
Hmm.
so that's kind of all I ever want from it.
Yeah. What I love so much about this game is it does seem like getting, a women and stuff involved is so huge to them as a company, and that makes me so happy. And I'm really proud to be a part of this community. I absolutely love what's happening so far. And like Katie said, with, trying to make people feel comfortable in the space and
Hmm.
encourage people in the space. And like my absolute dream is not just from our podcast, but in
Hmm.
general, is because there were so many women and gender minorities at Atlanta.
Yeah.
But like once we get past day one, it kind of falls
Hmm.
off rather significantly. And I would love to be able to see more gender minorities like competing at like a really high level and
Yeah.
feeling like that is a space where they belong. And
Hmm.
I really hope anything we can do to help that works.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I took note of that too, and it was one woman that wasn't on. I think she was both on the feature match and the not feature match. She was playing a really cool like Amethyst Emerald aggro with like Arthur in it, and I was like kind of keeping track of her because I'm like she was doing crazy. Like she was running into all the Ruby matchups, And she was just like, yeah, I had one steel matchup and she split with it. So she was like really happy. And I kept my a little bit of tabs on her and I saw she made day two and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she like gets into like the top
Yeah.
eight because that would have been really sick. So I'm always like kind of hyper aware too of that as well. Just
Yeah.
like I know I'm supposed to be not biased,
Right.
but I'm still human, so there's still,
Yeah.
players that I see that I would like to see for day two.
Yeah. Women supporting women.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this community has done an amazing job so far at doing that. So I urge everyone to continue that welcoming and that fostering of like a sense of community and belonging and making sure that everyone has a voice that is heard for sure.
Absolutely. And you do such a great job contributing to that as well. And honestly, so thankful that you came on. It was so much fun talking to you because, like, I see you on Twitter all the time, but it's nice to like,
I know most of the time I'm just retweeting stupid stuff and not talking about
which we
Lurkana.
love.
And no, part of me is just like, am I not talking about Lurkana enough? Sometimes I worry. I'm like, oh boy, I posted a really stupid meme. Here we go again. But like, some people are just B squared. You like message me, it's just like, yo, I love some of your memes. Like that has happened to me before, and people are like, I love your memes. Just in general, I'm like, okay, so keep up the meme work. I'm
Keep
doing a
up the
good
meme
job.
work. Did you need a tagline? Because that's perfect.
Oh, oh boy. Yeah, I need to make like a list. Different things I could put in my bio now for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you to you guys for inviting me on here. It's
Oh, you're so sweet.
been a great time.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, so right now people can find me like on Twitter at Miss Memento Mori. That's the full name. I also do have a Twitch that I think I have a link to that in the YouTube. Those have been updated just yet, only because I mentioned before this that my laptop is crap. So like once I get like a new desktop, which is very, very soon, I'm gonna start live streaming again. We're gonna be having live stream parties like I used to when I had it. Like you guys are gonna be like, oh, she's doing that. Like you probably go to join in on the fun. Like it's gonna be a really good time. So I'm really excited for hopefully later on this summer when I have an actual like computer that I can stream from. But right now, just Twitch and Twitter. Twitter is like the main one though, so definitely check out my Twitter handle for sure.
Hooray! Okay, well, thank you for being on here. Hope to see you on the internet very soon.
Oh, probably right after this.
But also Chicago, right? We'll see you in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So please look forward to seeing you guys in Chicago. Hopefully we can meet up in person and have
I'd
a
love
great
that.
time.
Yeah, sounds good. That was the interview with Miss Memento.
That was such a great interview. I love talking to her so much.
Me too. Ariel is such a sweetheart. I love her. I hope we're friends now.
Me too. Can we just admit though what bad podcasters we are? Because we had the best conversation with her after we turned off the recording equipment.
Honestly. Do you want to kind of recreate that conversation now about cheating allegations, right?
Right. I mean, obviously there were there were we saw some mistakes made on camera. That happens. I don't know if you guys know, humans make mistakes. It's very normal, especially when you're nervous, and the nerves are high the first time you're on stream. No doubt about it. So I think it's even easier to make mistakes, and we had some people make mistakes on stream. Some of those people were then called cheaters because of it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I've only been quote unquote on a stream recording my match once for the Glimmer Gauntlet. And you know how many mistakes I made? A ton. And like I knew how to pilot that deck, but something about just the camera, I was like, nope. And I made a ton of mistakes. And it's really crazy to me that so many people are immediately there to jump cheater. Because I'm going to be honest, Katie, like if you're going to cheat, why would you do it on camera?
I know. Like even I happen to believe most people are well intentioned and don't cheat, but that's fine. You don't have to believe that. Believe they're not stupid enough to cheat on camera. People, even
Honestly.
if people are inherently evil, they're not inherently stupid.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Some people would probably argue that they are, but
Yeah, not me. I well, no. No, people aren't dumb or mean in general. I don't think. But I am optimistic. I think it costs nothing to just believe that people have good intentions. I don't know why that's such a hard thing to grasp. And also, gonna be honest, that whole thing really makes me not want to play on stream.
exactly. I have every time I've been asked to be on stream, and I was allowed to say no, because in Flesh and Blood, once you make it to the top 8, you are not allowed to say no to being on stream anymore. If I was allowed to say no, I said no. Because what do I have to gain from it? If I make an innocent mistake that I am more likely to do because of being on camera, I'm suddenly a villain and everyone thinks I'm a cheater? Like, no, thank you.
It's a shame, but I totally get it. Yeah, I'm like very scared to be perceived now as well. Because honestly, like we apparently are in like a very like friendly, wonderful little bubble of the Lorcana community. People say like the online community is so nice, supportive, wonderful, and whatever we're doing, our interactions with people in the community have always been positive for me. Like I've not had any negative interactions, but after Atlanta, just like seeing the people being like so angry and name calling and fighting and yelling and like throwing mean words around, I was just like, oh wow. Is this what Lorcana Facebook is like all the time?
Probably. I just think we
People.
need to collectively, as a Lorcana community, agree to give each other the benefit of the doubt. Because, like, I love watching games on stream, casted by amazing casters. Like, love it, give it to me. No one's going to want to do it if we're all just attacking people for making simple mistakes. So let's just not do it. Let's give each other the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, let us give each other grace. I like saying that. Feels very nice.
So I will say the really, 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 really good insight that Miss Memento added to this conversation that we had. Like most of these issues happened on day one where the judges did not have good visibility to the feature table. They course corrected that. Like the second day, the judges were right like by the table, actively watching the match, actively issuing corrections to anything wrong that happened, which is perfect. Like let's do that. Let's keep the integrity of the game. I think that was a great decision, and I think we saw the good impacts of that decision.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. Great insight. And that's like the other thing. Because when like the cheating incidents, quote unquote, happen, everyone, of course, complains about the person making the mistake, but also people were angry at the judges and like the casters for not calling it out and all this like stupid stuff. And it's just like you are not aware of what is going on behind the scenes and like what decisions are being made in terms of how these kind of things get addressed. And so the course correction, beautiful. We love it. I'm sure they will continue with that.
Definitely.
So I saw a post on Twitter about you saw this as well. Somebody was talking about how members of other TCGs, specifically Magic, should really take note at like the pricing structure and whatever of Lorcana and like, yo, like this game does all this cool stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So I saw this tweet, the one that was like, look at these amazing prizes coming out for Lorcana. Magic players, take notice.
And all the comments were like, Lurkana is so cringe. But then you'd have to play Lurkana. It's like, I can't take a game seriously where there are action cards called songs. And I'm just like, I could not stop laughing. What are your thoughts, Kate?
Don't ask me these questions. Okay, here's the thing. I want Lorcana to be so inclusive and I want everyone to feel comfortable here. So it feels very hypocritical for me to be like, okay, fine, I don't want you here. But like, I don't really want you here if that's your attitude.
Honestly, I totally agree. It's just like good, like, yeah, it's fine, stay with your magic. But I do think there is a certain kind of irony with being like, magic is serious business. This other cardboard is way more serious business than your cardboard. And I just think that's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, can I make a running analogy?
Please.
So you go to a marathon, right? You can do races in any city in the entire world, big races. But then you can also do a Run Disney race. And you go to Run Disney and there's something special about Run Disney because a lot of the people who do Run Disney races don't even run them. Like the limit is a 16-minute mile and there are people who are just trying to power walk it faster than a 16-minute mile. And the atmosphere is electric and everyone's just so excited to be in Disney and taking pictures with characters and celebrating their love of Disney and also encouraging each other to finish this race. And I always thought that Disney Lorcana would be the Run Disney, like of TCGs. Like Disney Lorcana would be to TCGs as Run Disney is to running.
That's a beautiful analogy.
And that hasn't been the case. Like it just hasn't. Like there are people who care, like are playing this game because they love Disney and they care about Disney. There are people playing this game because they were grinding Magic and they realized that Magic doesn't quite have the support for in-person gaming anymore and Lorcana does and they have financial prizes and they're coming over. But it's just not necessarily the energy that I want here.
Totally valid, honestly. And we're not poo-pooing Magic players. Magic is a fantastic game and love, love, love. But yeah, just I don't like prize incentives being the driving factor of the community.
Right. And like, that's not just us, because when asked if Lorcana was going to have big cash prizes, the answer was no, because that was not the type of player they were trying to attract. But if you just give prizes as cardboard with that same amount of financial value, it's a distinction without a difference.
Indeed. Yeah. I don't know what else they could do though, honestly.
I just think there should be some sort of Disney trivia you should have to pass to be admitted to the venue. That's my thing.
Like, we could do softball questions. I think what is your favorite Disney movie might be a good litmus test, don't you think?
You know how we're all, when the Disney Lorcana Challenge, like tickets go live and we're all like at our computers trying to book? It should be like, instead of like a CAPTCHA that's like, prove like, you're not a robot. It's like, prove you're a Disney fan. And there's like these 5 Disney questions like to answer.
Or even like a one, like they show like Aurora or something and be like, what princess is this? Or like, something like that.
Just quick little.
Yeah, that's so funny. Look at us gatekeeping.
I know, and I don't want to gatekeep. Actually, anybody who like is going to be a positive presence in the community, like that's great. I feel like I'm just so like ready to rant for some reason today.
You have more?
Kind of like on the same topic, but like I feel like a lot of the competitive players, they don't like it when Lorcana deviates from Magic or Pokemon or Flesh and Blood or whatever game they come from. They're like, this is a model that works. Why are you deviating from it? So like, I feel like the difference between me and most competitive players, because I do consider myself a competitive player, is that like, I've never been satisfied with the status quo. I've never gone to a TCG event, looked around the room and thought, yes, they're doing a great job because look at this great group of people they've attracted here. Like, And not in a bad way, but just like there are no women here. Like,
Right.
are we really think we're doing everything we can to make women feel comfortable in the space if we just look around the room and there are no women here? Like, we can be doing better. Like, so, like, don't tell me that everything, a TCG that is not diverse, don't tell me they're doing everything right because I don't buy it.
I love that.
You know what we should talk about?
Tell me.
Ursula's return came out.
Oh, yeah.
We had a set release. Like, let's get some fanfare. How was your set release?
Oh my God, I forgot to tell you this. I keep meaning to tell you this. I'm saving it for the pod. No, it's so embarrassing. So I just went to like a starter deck tournament, and that was fun. You know, it's always fun. There was a guy there that I played against who was super nice, and he was telling me that he's a Magic guy, but his partner saw that it was like a Disney card game and was like all in. And she's like, yes, yes, yes. And she was there too, and she was so cute. She had her little Mickey ears and like a little Dalmatian print everything, and like was adorable. And he was telling me that like she's so into it, and on their lunch breaks they always play together and stuff. And so I don't know, I felt like because she was kind of new to the community, and like he wasn't a super like Lorcana guy yet. And so I decided to like, because I never do this, but I was like, I should tell them about my podcast. And oh my God, Katie, you know how like I can decently talk to people like in interviews and stuff? I couldn't there. I don't know how to sell myself. I was just like, you like podcasts? Like it was so bad. Like I was just like, I don't do this. I never do this. But like well, like my sister used to play Legend, and like we put together like this thing. It's just like really casual, and it's not for like, but we like really care about marginalized. And like I have this sticker, like it was hottest mess ever. I hope he never looks us up, or maybe I do, because he'll be like, oh wow, she had something wrong with her. She was having an episode. She was having a rough day, but like, I felt like such a doofus. You like podcasts? I have one. But I played the Madrigal deck, and it was fun. It's funny because like I'm used to playing like, you know, good decks, like well thought out, like things that really work together. And like I know there's like a theme for these decks, but like it felt so slow, and like I wasn't getting anything done. You know what I mean?
I do.
Just like this collection of cards was just like like drawing things, and I'm just like, I need something to do something here. But yeah, it was interesting.
Nice. How'd you do in the event?
I went 2-1.
Look at you.
Yeah. I actually kind of think because I gave Cody got the hero deck and I had the Madrigal deck. And I kind of wish I had traded with him because that one looked like a lot of fun.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had fun. It was a good time. And you were in Disney World. Oh yeah, people wanted to hear about your trip. Boy, do I could not care less about other people's vacations. Like, just same with other people's dreams. Like, I do not care. But Katie, go ahead, talk about your vacation.
So shady.
I wasn't there, and the dream didn't even happen. Okay, I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
All legitimate concerns. Okay, so I left for Disney World on May 17th, the day Ursula's return came out, and you're like, thinking, that's poor planning. It sure was. We booked the trip before we knew the dates. Now that we know all the dates for the year, we'll plan around things better. But we left here on May 17th, and I missed everything at the LGSs around here, and I thought, no problem, I'll go to Disney Springs. But I didn't get to Disney Springs into the afternoon, and like they didn't really have any troves left. They didn't have mats left, and they had a 2 limit on like everything anyway. Like last time it was 5. Anyway, the point is, all I really got was like 20 packs and an Illumineer's Quest. A cast member did vibe check all the packs for me, and that worked out because I did get an enchanted Super Goof.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I was waiting for the podcast. So vibe check worked. Got an enchanted super goof.
What the hell? I told you about my enchanted. I got an enchanted Anna.
Those are great enchanteds. So yeah, and then we played a Lumineers quest in the hotel room a few times over the course of the week. I played it on easy and played it on normal. And we haven't tried hard yet, but we read the instructions for extreme, and there's no way you're beating it with the included decks on extreme. But we started strategizing because it's a really fun game. I really like it. Did you play it yet?
No, where would I have played it, Katie?
With your husband.
We don't have it.
Oh, 'cause you had
LGSs didn't get no LGSs around here got them.
really? Okay.
I have it pre-ordered at Best Buy. I think it's supposed to come tomorrow.
Wow. Well, you're gonna love
Great, thanks.
it. But those 20 packs are the only packs I got because I didn't pre-order with any LGSs around here. And then I was sick when I came back home. So I have no set 4 cards for Chicago next week. And that's unfortunate.
Oh, do you need some?
I could use a couple, but at this point I plan on only swapping out a few cards from my set 3 deck because I'm so behind. I haven't gotten to play much set 4 at all. I am not prepared for Chicago.
SD pointed out I had a loose Diablo floating around my desk if you want that.
So that's a $50 card. I was so mad when I saw that in your crap.
It's not crap. It's important things.
That's a reminder that we are going to Chicago next week.
Yay, we'll be there Saturday if anyone wants to say hi or hang out with us. We'll have stickers if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, only Saturday because that's all you could do. And I thought it would be more fun to travel with you. And also, I am going to Dallas and Toronto as well. So
You gotta stop calling it Dallas. The Fort Worth people get really mad when you call it Dallas.
I'm so sorry.
Apologies to Texas. Katie's going to Fort Worth. I am probably not going to Fort Worth. And I would like to go to Toronto. I think Vegas would be fun. I feel it's a cheap flight. I'm gonna bring my husband if I go to any other ones.
That would be fun. Yeah, I'm going to be bringing my husband to the other ones too because he got really into Lumineers Quest when we were playing it. And then he spent the weekend watching Disney Lorcana challenges with me. And then he just started playing Lorcana. And my husband's super obsessive with stuff. So it's great that he's into it because I'll look at the Disney Lorcana challenges like I did and be like, okay, I'm going to be responsible with money and only go to these 2. And my husband will look at them and be like, okay, so we're going to all 6 of these, right? So that should
Enabler.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. That's very nice. Now let's have some listener questions. Jacob from Ready Set Draw says, what's up, L cubed? If a B can be squared, an L can be cubed. So true, Jacob. If Ravensburger were to make a junior division for their OP, do you think your children would be interested in that? Would you limit their engagement with the game at all? My kids are too little to play. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, but I've been very interested in the idea of a juniors division. I think the game could really use one. I'm not sure what the age limits are for Pokemon.
I looked that up for you.
Oh, what you got?
Masters is 16 plus, senior is 13 to 15, and junior is 12 and under.
Cute. I do. Is Pokemon the only game with divisions, probably?
That I know of.
Yeah. I think those are good. That makes sense to me, and under 12. So I would definitely encourage my kids to play if they wanted to. I don't know. Well, I thought Miss Memento said something great about if your kids are in a junior league, being a judge is a really great way to engage as a parent. And I thought that was a really great thing and so true. So maybe I'll judge someday for my kids when they play.
Yeah. I think absolutely we need a juniors division. We need kids divisions because I feel like that experience is just better for both kids and adults to be playing people in your age group. I'm actually shocked that we don't already have it. Because if you look at almost anything across the Disney conglomeration. It's like everything is made with the whole family in mind and like having these tailored experiences for the whole family. Like look at a Disney cruise. There's like kids clubs, there's tweens clubs, there's teens clubs, there's adult only areas. It's a little wild to me. We don't already have it.
Yeah, for sure. And Jacob also asked, what do y'all think would be appropriate for that type of separate OP structure? I know Pokemon does it, but I'm not familiar with how valuable their junior division pricing is. Honestly, same prizes for the kids. I actually have no idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I looked it up. I have the regional championship prizes and like they are cash prizes. Like I'm seeing like the Masters division, like first prize is $10,000, junior and senior divisions is $2,500. But if we're not doing straight money and we're just doing cards, I feel like it should be the same, but then also it's like the junior divisions are also going to be smaller. So it's like, do I train or do I just like make my kid go play? Is how I could think some parents could see it, like
Honestly, that's a really good point because even if they like do something different for the junior divisions, like that will be rare and special. So
yeah. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I really don't know how pricing would work. That's really interesting. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. Next question.
Sure.
B squared as Katie. I know you've mentioned Mulan as your favorite Disney film. How do you feel about the Mulan cards and Ursula's return?
I feel so great because like the Mulan we got in chapter 1 really didn't see a lot of play, but like Mulan Elite Archer is so good. Like the triple shot ability is like incredible. And then you even like the Mulan injured soldier is seeing a lot of play because you can heal that in a Ruby Amber deck. And then like even like having the Imperial soldiers in there is great. Having the Great Stone Dragon in there is great. No, I was really excited about the Mulan representation.
Definitely, definitely. B squared asks Becky, are there any cards you're especially excited to play with slash collect? So I've been saying this. There is a card that came out called Dang Hu, where it gives support to villains characters, and it's a sapphire card. And I have been trying to make something like a villains Sapphire Amber Hades deck for a while. So who knows what's gonna happen there? It's coming together.
Perfect.
Joe, our good friend Googly Glitter, says with the addition of Flotsam and Jetsam as a combo card that counts as both characters, which other iconic duos would you like to see get that treatment? I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Pain and Panic are ripe for that.
I had that as well, but I'm like Pain and Panic, but I feel like they're already doing it.
I feel like that has to be on the block. I think Jacques and Gus would have been great too. Cinderella.
I agree.
Or is it Jack and Gus?
I think they say Jack in the movie.
Jack and Gus, the little mice buddies.
I also have Timon and Pumbaa and Chip and Dale on this list.
Oh, those are really good answers. There's a lot of little buddies. I love it. Well, we saw the Moana 2 trailer, Boat Snack and Bonus Boat Snack. They could be...
Love that.
Hey, hey, and Pua. I love that. Ender Express, Adam asks, with this whole multiverse thing Lorcana does, do you think there's a chance we'll ever see villainous versions of heroes or heroic villains? If so, who would you nominate for each side? I really hope so, honestly. I love that sort of thing. I love seeing our villains be heroes. And so I conversely also want to see our heroes be villains. Like Dark Rapunzel, like, are you not obsessed with that idea? Because I am.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's such a good answer.
Right? Because she's like, the sun thing is her symbol. It's like moon.
Oh my gosh, you're so good.
I know.
I want to see it too. And we've seen Smart Gaston, so I do think anything is possible.
Yes. I love that.
Your hero as a villain is unbeatable. Rapunzel. I just put Minnie. That's such a bad answer in comparison.
I love that idea too, though. Anyone who is cute and fun and delightful, I want to see have a dark side.
Yeah.
I think that's the duality of man.
What about villain you want to see as a hero?
I wonder, like, is Hades King of Olympus supposed to be a hero? Is he supposed to be? Well, I mean, he's not a hero. He's obviously a villain. But like him being that sort of King of Olympus, being like a nice guy, and he's just like hanging out on the clouds, having a good time. Like,
Interesting. Trying to remember the art if he looks like he's being a nice guy.
no, it's definitely, I mean, he's a villain card, but it's an interesting thought.
That is an interesting thought. Hades is who I'd want to see as a hero.
Okay, a villain that would be cool as a hero. I mean, I like the idea of Jafar. I think that would be fun. Him just being like, "No, guys, it's all good," and then he's actually a nice genie and hangs out with other genie, and they both get freed together and live on some sort of island and have a great life.
Oh, that's lovely.
Thank you. Tempest George says, "Do you think you'll be updating your current decks or making completely new ones with each set release?" Well, we know what you're doing this time, Katie.
We've talked about before, if you want to be competitive, probably try to play a deck that's in the top 5. So I feel like if Emerald Steel's in the top 5, I'm always just going to play that. But if not, I am open to building other decks.
I know the current state of the meta, everybody's playing Emerald Steel or Ruby Sapphire.
I think Amber Ruby has legs. I've been looking at that deck.
Amber Ruby definitely has legs for sure. Until Sapphire Amber becomes part of the meta, which will happen, mark my words. I feel like I have to just kind of like go with it. I tinker that deck every set though. I tinker that to make it the best version of it can be, and then also make a different deck that actually has legs. I'm actually was planning on making an Emerald Steel deck tonight.
Ooh, my favorite.
I know. Probably the stupid Bucky Diablo one everyone's playing. I hate playing what everyone's playing. It is so exhausting. Yeah. But alas, what can you do? Endor Express Adam says, in honor of Katie's trip to Walt Disney World, if Ravensburger did a run of location cards based on Magic Kingdom attractions, which of the 6 Magic Kingdom lands would you match with each of the 6 ink colors? That's both of us, right? Because I want to answer 2.
Do you have them already, or were you going to do it on the fly?
I was going to do it on the fly, but you tell me what yours are then, if you have them.
Adventureland.
Red.
Ruby. Of course. Rush, Reckless, ready for a challenge. Easy.
Oh, let's see if ours are the same.
All right. Fantasyland.
Amethyst.
Card draw. Yay! Amazing bounce package. A 4-cost inkable location with 7 willpower that draws a card. Like, let's go. That's a fantasy.
I love it. Tomorrowland.
Go ahead. I have mine written down.
Steel?
I went Sapphire.
Okay. I see what you're doing there.
Innovative and intellectual.
Duh, I'm such an idiot. I was going for like metal. Such an idiot. That's a way better answer. I'm changing to Sapphire. What about Frontierland?
Yeah, this is where it's starting to get a little bit harder. Do you want to do yours first?
Is this one steel?
That's not what I gave it.
I'm giving it Amber.
That's not what I gave it either.
What did you give it?
I gave it Emerald.
That's a terrible answer.
But it's like discard and punishing for banishing, kind of like Wild West vibes.
Oh, okay. I like it. No, that's a good answer. Liberty Square. I don't know. What did you put?
I put Amber, like support vibes, you know.
I feel like Main Street USA is Amber for me. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
That's the last one.
Yeah, so Main Street you had steel, and I
by a process of elimination.
Okay. I see Main Street as Amber. Liberty Square can be steel, kind of defensive.
You're right. Yeah. That's the play.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 I needed to switch.
Okay, yeah. These were good. We did a good job with that, I think.
I think so too.
Go team. Katie, what's our featured creator?
Our featured creator is Miss Memento, who we talked to today. So I feel like when we talk about content creators and ones we've featured in the past, it's a lot of times been like podcasters or YouTubers, but I think like people that can have just as much influence on the community is just people who post on social media. Especially when we think about minority genders, like we're seeing a lot more like minority gender players start to post on these platforms, and that makes the community seem more inclusive. So like thank you out there to everyone who's just like out here hanging out on social media, like creating content in tweets or Instagrams or whatever that is. Because I think it's really shaping our community in a positive way.
Absolutely. We see you out there. We're responding to your stuff. Be sure to follow Miss Memento at Miss Memento Mori on Twitter. Well, that's our show. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram. You could check out our YouTube. It's just this, but on YouTube. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to check out our Discord. It's awesome. It's fun. It's where all the cool kids are doing the cool stuff.
And until next time, remember to live, laugh, and lore.